Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm here with Spice and Wolf episode number 1 reaction. So this is the first episode of this show. This was a show that came out quite a while ago, almost like 8 years, maybe 10 years. I'm not really exactly sure when it came out. However, it was one of the best things that I had watched back then, and since it has been so long, I do not remember anything except the main two characters. And I remember one scene in particular, which was a scene where Hollow negotiates. I think like she uses like some kind of negotiation against a few people, and like she uses a lot of like economic like things like and a lot of like economics and stuff like he talks about, and it really impressed me. That's why I remember that scene. That's all I remember. I remember exactly nothing more than that. So this will probably actually be like a whole new experience for me because I don't really remember anything. But yeah, uh, but to make sure that everybody knows, I did watch this back in the day, but I don't really remember anything about it except that one scene. So yeah, so it will kind of be like a new experience for me, and I'm very much looking forward to it. I do remember that I really loved the show, so I'm hoping I'm going to get the same feeling here as well. So I'm really looking forward to this. Let us see what happens, and yeah, let's go. So this is the first episode reaction. I will put the subtitles and the timer here. Sync it to whichever is your preference, and let us get started. All right. So here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Hmm. This is Hollow's voice, isn't it? Okay. Wow, the music. Wow, the wolf is running. Who is this person in front of her? Hmm. Okay. Merchant meets the wise wolf. Okay. Whoa. What is this? 60 FPS? What's going on? Okay. Oh, Kevin Penkin. I was like, where? I recognize this style. Wow, this is beautiful, this song. Whoa. Animation looks good. Okay, um I'm okay with it. Ah, that's cute. uh, the little, the ears kind of. Oh, that's cute. Right. Okay. All right. This looks really promising. Like I'm talking about visually. The story is like obviously I know it's very good. I'm not talking about the story. I'm talking about the visuals and the animations and everything. Uh, Harvest Festival in the crowded driver's box. Salt. Wheat. Oh wait, that's. Oh, okay. Never mind. Oh, okay. Hmm. Oh. Oh. Okay. What's his? I think his name is Lawrence, wasn't it? Yeah. Kraft Lawrence. Hmm. Hmm. Will end up as hollow. What does that mean? Is this like a festival kind of thing that they do? Okay. Yare. Oh yeah, this is like a little like a festival kind of. Damn. Because hollow brings in like prosperity and bountiful harvest. That's why they do this, I'm guessing. Wait, they close him? What? Wait, what? Damn. Oh, I'm guessing they confine hollow so that. Okay. Yeah, to bring more. Okay, I see. Hmm. New farming methods. Hmm. Ah, I see. So I'm guessing he was like his disciple or something. Like not disciple, sorry, student. Hmm. Okay. Ooh. Oh wow. Damn, it's beautiful. Oh, there she is. She's there, isn't she? Yep, there she is. Yep. Yes, Fox, yes. Well, yeah, and she's not wearing anything as far as I can remember. Yep. Damn. Ooh. Oh my god. Wow. Oh wait, she has a tail as well. That makes sense, I guess. I didn't remember that part at least. I love the way she speaks. Like I can talk about it later. Wait, she. Oh, I guess she's a wolf. So. Hmm. Who is her voice actress? I need to check that. I feel like I've heard the voice before, but I cannot pinpoint it. There you go. What a coincidence. Yeah, well, that's literally her. Ah, North, yeah. Boulevard. Yoitsu. Ah, well, that's why she was underneath the wolf belts. Proof. Well, you can see her ears and yeah, I was gonna say. Tails are fluffed up. Maybe she had some other way to prove. Hmm. To change form without paying a price. Oh, okay. Oh, she probably doesn't like it because, yeah, it. Oh my god! Hey yo! Well, you asked for it. Where is she? Okay. Wait, what? Oh, I guess he's like, he's not there. Bruh. I guess it makes sense because, who's even going to stay there for one week? Sure. Well, true traveling merchant. Ah, I see. Ah, he bought it for him. Ah, I see. That's why. Damn. Well, I feel like you're, yeah. And you can see how, like, people's faith in Hollow is diminishing day by day. And, now they just do it as an excuse to, like, have a fun time. Yep, there you go. Live inside the weed. Hmm. Which is a larger. Oh, that is how she was able to do it. Interesting. Yeah, he saw her form. That. Oh, so this is what happened after that. Hmm. That's why she still stays here, even though people are not really believing in her anymore. Yeah, that makes sense. Hmm. Probably not, as she said, her hometown. Yep, there you go. Because it seemed like she wanted, like, when she asked him that, oh, have you gone to North, and when he said no, he seemed sad. So I was like, she probably wants to go back to North. Okay, and we are off in this journey. You need to hide your ears and tail, you know. Wow. Well, we're already on our way, so Lawrence. Handshake. Oh, not handshake. I thought she was going to handshake. Yeah. Okay. Nice. That was a good start. Wait. This voice. Is this Clarice? Oh, no, probably not. This is Clarice, isn't it? This song? I'm not really sure, but let's see. This is a cute ending. It is Clarice. I was correct. Wow. Okay. Okay. right, that was today's episode. That was the first episode of Spice and Wolf. Okay, that was really good. I really loved it. And like I said, I already know the story is really good. Like, there's no question about that, you know. But I was one thing I was thinking about, like, how will, like, the visuals and everything look like. It looks good. I like it. I like the very simplistic art style. It's not like, like some crazy, like, things. It's very simple. The colors are very crisp. I really like that crispy, that color, the way they, like, did that. The character models look really nice. Like Hollow, Lawrence, all of the character models look good. I like the character models, and I hope they keep this quality throughout this whole, like, this whole season. And yeah, this looks really amazing. And okay, one thing I need to check: who's Hollow's voice actress? Like, I'm pretty sure I've heard her before, but I cannot really pinpoint it. Um, Spice and Wolf. Wait a minute, let me just check. My anime list. I'm pretty sure it's written there. Uh, just a minute, because like, I feel like I've heard the voice somewhere, but I cannot really, like, cannot pinpoint the whole thing. I'm sure I'll recognize the voice actor when I see it. Oh god, it's taking a while for my internet. Okay, so Koshimizu Ai. Sorry, Koshimizu Ami. Koshimizu Ami. Um, okay, who are the characters? Hollow, Spice and Wolf. Okay, interesting. I don't really. This is a lot of, like, yeah, a lot of character voice acting she has done. Um, Anything that I properly. Oh, Karen from Fate. I see. Interesting. That's why I was like, oh wow, it's Karen's voice. Okay, okay, okay. Right. And yeah, there you go. That yeah, I was like I've heard her voice somewhere. I wasn't able to properly, like, I wasn't able to properly pinpoint it, but there you go. Okay, so yeah, and yeah, first impression for this episode, really good. I really love it, and I love, like I said, I love the way, like, characters, like, the way, like, Hollow speaks here. She has this, like, this ancient, like, like, the way she speaks, and like, this, like, wachi, and the way she kind of speaks. It's, I don't know, I really like that. I've always liked characters when characters speak in this, like, I don't know if you call this like a dialect, like an ancient dialect, this way. I always love it. And like, yeah, it's just, it just sounds so sweet in your ears. I don't know why, like, at least I really love it, this style. And her voice actress, is the voice is very sweet as well. It feels very nice to hear. I really love the, like, the whole thing. And it's perfect. Like, like, the whole, like, Hollow is just perfect. It's just, like, so good. Like, they really casted such a great person to voice act her. Like, I absolutely love that. And yeah, this is, I'm looking forward to this. So let me, like, give my overall impressions about this episode. What basically happened in the first episode is we got to, oh, this thing, like, this part in the very beginning, what was that? You see Hollow talking to someone, a girl, and speaking to her about what has happened, like, like, in like, back in time, what happened. As she said, a land much further south than here. So she's in north, I'm guessing, currently. um, and she talks about what happened. She talks about the wolf that brought harvest and everything. The person that she was talking to, is that, like, Okay, few things to talk about here. First of all, she says south, so means she is currently at north. So her wish of coming to north has been fulfilled. And when this was happening, the very first scene, I'm guessing Lawrence had probably passed away by that time, because this is Hollow. Hollow is, I'm guessing, immortal or a long-lived creature. So she is going to continue living on after Lawrence's death and a lot of other deaths she'll see probably in her life. So this is probably like later in the future, whatever, like this whole scene that is going on. And currently she's in the north, talking to this little girl about her past, and this story that she's telling the little girl is what we are seeing here, of her past story. So currently in present, like it's probably a long amount of time has went from that point onwards. Now my question is, I need to check something here. Where is that part? I need to see that scene again. That girl that she was talking to, there was a scene here where they actually kind of show her face a little bit. Where is that part? Okay, no, I cannot find it. Yeah, what I'm trying to figure out here, that is this Lawrence's child? Like, it wouldn't surprise me if that's the case, because her hair is white, you can see. And and Lawrence's hair is also like grayish white, as you can see. So it wouldn't surprise me if this was Lawrence's child and she's talking to her or something like that. So that's what I'm trying to think. But I doubt we'll get that answer anytime soon. It's probably going to happen way in the future, like later, like very long time later. For now, like all we need to know is that she's talking to this girl and telling her the story of her past, something like that. Either Lawrence's child or maybe like his grandchild or something like that. I'm guessing this is like this is probably, and like she's probably telling her like Lawrence's generation, future generation, about the past, what happened or something like that. There's a huge possibility that's what's going on here, or this is some random kid. Either of that. So yeah, like anyways, like I said, I doubt we're going to get any type of like hints on that. um but yeah, we can make like like we can just, yeah, her hair is white, her hair is completely white. That's why I'm just thinking maybe it's, yeah. Anyways, you know what, I'm just going to stop thinking about that. But interesting the way they kind of is telling us the story, because basically she will be telling this story to this girl, and we will be hearing this story here in the anime format. Okay, that's the first thing. Then we get to see like this village where they do this harvest like festival kind of thing, where they like where the final like sheaf of wheat, the person who cuts, they becomes hollow for that like that festival. And I'm guessing they try to catch him, and here this time it was this dude, I forgot his name, his student or whatever. um so this time it was him, Yavichi or something like that was his name, yeah. And they put him inside the barn, and they're like, oh, you'll have to stay there for 7 days or something like that, so that like for more bountiful harvest and everything. And that is how the festival goes. But here, as you can see, since people has started losing faith in like Hollow and everything, all that, they also like do this as like just like a little enjoyment, like a game type of thing they do. And the guy, he literally came out that same day, so and he's also like, yeah, like we just do it for fun nowadays, like nobody believes in that. So it's kind of like that, like people are losing their, I guess you could say, their faith for Hollow. And like she's just become like a part of like a like a legend, and something like that. um and the church is being more prevalent, like as they say, like the church's teachings, that is being more focused in here. And I think that guy said something like, um like everyone's scared of the church. That's why like people don't believe in Hollow no more. And you can see that Hollow also dislikes the church, because when Lawrence was like, "Oh, I'm going to give you to the church," she's like, "No, I hate the church," or something like that. She kind of says. So there's like some conflict going on in that thing, I can see. Right. And that was that. And the other things that happened in this episode is that Lawrence, not believing, obviously, him being like, "What the hell? I don't believe you. Tell me, like, prove to me you're Hollow, or like, or I'll think that you're just someone who has been possessed. I'm going to take you to the village chief." At which she had to take the compensation, which was either like blood and flesh, I think she said, or a sheaf of wheat, which she took, and she showed her form to Lawrence. Lawrence got scared at that, and yeah, that whole scene happened. So there you go. And then we saw all the things that happened after that. Lawrence went back to that place, and he talks to Hollow. And there's an interesting thing that Hollow said. The reason why she was able to manifest in front of him is because there was a big amount of wheat in front at that particular point of time. That's why she could like probably transfer that. That's what she says. Like, what is that part where she says, wait a minute. Okay, not here. Where is that section? I cannot find it now. Oh, here we go. I found it. She says, to be precise, I live inside the wheat. She lives inside the wheat. During the harvest, I'm the last piece of wheat. And so that means, it is true, that means. So this whole like festival that they do of cutting the last sheaf of wheat and taking it inside the barn and just, like closing the barn door for 7 days, that is actually true. And that is exactly why, like, if she resides inside that wheat, then she's also stuck there. So yeah, that's what's going on. However, this time she was able to escape, because as she says here, during the harvest, I'm the last piece of wheat. That's why it's quite difficult to escape from there. However, there are exceptions. If there is a larger amount of wheat than that last sheaf of wheat nearby, which Lawrence had at that point of time, and that's why there was that noise there, like when he was there was a sudden noise, like a weird noise, and he kind of looked back. That she transferred from that last sheaf of wheat to here. Right. I can move to that wheat without being seen by humans. Yeah, and she's like, that is why I owe you a great deal, like, great debt. Thank you. And she says, like, like, I'm like, people don't believe in me no more, and I feel like the harvest will still be good even if I still don't stay here. So I want to move forward. I want to, like, I thank you for bringing me out of there. At which Lawrence asks, like, where do you want to go if you want to go somewhere? And she's like, I want to go to North, where she was born. So interesting. That's very interesting. So as she said, she was not born here, she was born in North. I do wonder what circumstances made her like come this far from home, and who is she? As she said, everyone thinks of her as a god, but she's not a god, as she says. I think that's what she says, doesn't she? So, like, a lot of questions. I'm sure these will be answered eventually as we keep seeing this show more. But one of the biggest questions I have is like, what is she? What type of creature is she then? Like, she's not a god, because as she says, she has been born in the North. Where was she born from? Does she have like parents, like mother and father? If she has parents, are her parents also like her, like foxes? Like, all these questions. So I'm, like I said, I feel like these all will be answered way later, not now. Now we're going to probably see, like Lawrence and Hollow getting acquainted with each other and stuff like that. But all these questions, I'm sure they will be revealed later or something like that. But either way, yeah, like, now they're planning on going to North, and Hollow has joined on this journey together with him. And yeah, this is the beginning of this journey. So another thing that they kind of talk about is like how, very first section where Hollow like talks to that girl, she kind of explains how the how the what is that, how the wheat and everything. Okay, this part, I'm just going to read this part. um the wolf promised the youths of, okay, no, wait, let me go back. Okay, the girl tells her to tell a story, and she says, then what about an old tale from long, there you go, as you can see, from long ago, that began in a village. So there you go, this proves that this is happening way later, So Lawrence is probably dead by then now, when this is happening, when she's talking to this girl. So this happened about what about an old tale from long ago that began in a village far, far away. It is a story about a wolf that protected the harvests of a village in a land much further south than here. A wolf, the wolf promised the youths of that village that it would bring bountiful harvests of wheat. The wolf kept its promise. It kept it for an exceedingly long time. No one knows when it began, but the people of the village would use the phrase, the wolf is running, when ripe wheat stalks swayed in the wind. Now here's the part which I want to talk about. As she said that she lives in the wheat, it wouldn't surprise me if she was actually running, through the wheat at that point of time. When winds were blowing, she was also running at that time. It wouldn't surprise me. When ears of wheat were flattened by the wind, they said they were trampled by the wolf. You can see a little tail here within the wheat. Then they even said when wheat was eaten by the wolf, when the harvest was poor. Wow. So all good and bad things, everything is based on because of the wolf. The village must have really treasured that wolf. She says, yeah, they did. So they all lived happily ever after. That is the end of the story? No. After a long time passed, no one remembered the promise they made with the wolf anymore. The tales of the wolf, which were full of familiarity and awe, eventually just became antiquated stories. The humans who began to sow, nurture, and harvest the wheat themselves no longer believed in the wolf that brought bountiful harvests. So what happened to that wolf? And she's like, at that time in that village, yeah, and she starts her story. So there you go. That whole part, that was the whole thing. Yeah, so there you go. So she is the wolf inside the wheat. She runs, and she goes through the wheat, and during that festival, the last sheaf of wheat is her, which kind of makes sense, I guess, because if you're cutting the wheat off, she's probably, when you're cutting the wheat off, she's probably like moving from one wheat to another, like jumping into the remaining wheats, and then finally there's one wheat left which is cut, and she's inside that, which kind of makes sense, I guess. This time, however, Lawrence's wheat was there, so she just jumped into Lawrence's sheep, wheats, and stayed there. So something like that. And yeah, there you go. So yeah, that was the first episode. That was my not first impressions. Like I said, I watched the anime Spice of Wolf, the first anime before, but it has been so long I don't remember anything. So yeah, in a way you could say this is my first experience. But I do remember these two characters, Lawrence and Holo. And very few things, very small things, details I just remember, and that's it. So yeah, overall this was a good start. I really like it. I'm hoping this quality and this this thing continues. So let's hope for the best. And yeah, so that is it. Now let me talk about this episode scene by scene. The first scene, like I said, I talked about that in details already, so I'm not going to repeat that. So basically, my thought is that since she says this is a story for a long time ago, my thought is that she's now in North, as she said, like that happened in South. She's probably in North currently, and I'm guessing Lawrence probably brought her to North, and then Lauren eventually passed away. Now this is either Lawrence's generation, her great grandkid or something. The reason why I'm saying that is because of the white hair. but not necessarily, white hair means it would be Lawrence's, like great children, or like it doesn't mean that, but still Lawrence has like grayish white hair, so I'm just basing it on that. Either way, this either from Lawrence's like generation, like like Lawrence's like successors, or some random person, either of it. And she's talking to this girl and telling her the story that we're going to hear now. And yeah, and in this story we get to see the anime begins then. So we can see like Lawrence is a traveling merchant, and he moves to this village where he's stopped by these people, the guards, and they're like checking him, because there's some people like who's like pagans, as they say, like they're just in case they're the ones, they're just checking to make sure. And he says like, I'm on my way after selling some salt. Okay. And now he's here. So a few things that he got here is the wolf pelts and a sheaf of wheat that he received from the village. That is all that is there in the backside. Okay, so after that he goes in, and right, he asks for this dude. What's his name? Yare, that's his name. There you go. So he's like, have you seen Yare? And here they're like, oh, you should go. Like he's like in that festival. He'll be the hollow this time. So, oh no, they say I'm sure one of them will end up as hollow. So it wasn't chosen that he would be. So I'm guessing they could do it like in a random way, like like a like everyone like takes their turn to cut the wheat sheaf off, and the final one, whoever cuts it, becomes hollow for that year. Yeah, so that was what was happening, and we see here that they're cutting the sheaf of one after the other, and finally there's only one left. And yeah, that one, Yare, is the one who cuts it, and you can see here is the time where the like his carriage kind of like a sound happens, and he looks back. So this is the time when Hollow like probably jumped from that sheaf to here, because there's one sheaf and there's more sheaf of like like wheat here, more amount of wheat here. So since there's more here, she could transfer here, as she says. Okay, interesting. So she cannot go from like a big amount to a small amount, but she can transfer from a small amount to a big amount. That's interesting, because I don't know, that's just interesting. There's no reason, it's just interesting, because she said like there needs to be a bigger amount from where I am. Like if there's like a little bit here, if there should be a big amount if I need to transfer there. That's what she said. Or is it? That's what she said, isn't it? There needs to be a. Yeah, I think that's what. I'll check that part again later. Okay. Either way, and then everyone starts chasing him, and then he trips and falls. Everyone gets him and puts him inside that barn, and now he won't be able to come out for a week. So everyone's like hanging the like the wheat like puppets and everything. They're getting ready for like a festival. So Lawrence goes to this village chief, and he talks about how the harvest has been bountiful, all thanks to Count Arendot. This new person who is the new lord of the fiefdom, and yeah, and he says like looks like the era of praying to the old gods have ended. So he's literally saying that yeah, the Hollow and everyone, all that like legends and everything, things of the past now. Now like people are getting more modern. I'm guessing this dude, this count who came, this person, he who came here, he probably introduced like more modern methods, like I don't know, like crop rotation or something. Maybe I'm not really sure. That's why like the harvest has been more bountiful or something like that. And he's like, we've had no bad harvests with the new farming methods that the Lord taught us. And he shows him like the money. He's like, there you go, you can see like this is the amount we got. And he also talks about Yahweh, and he's a negotiator, price negotiator, and he's also doing a good job, as he says. And we get to know that Yahweh is actually his student, not student or like his friend, like Lawrence's friend. They knew each other, and he invites him to stay, but he's like, no, I'll leave, and he leaves here. on his way, and finally he stops, feeds his horse, and opens the cloth draped over his carriage. This is where he sees that something is wrong. Someone's inside the thing, and he opens it and he sees Hollow here. Obviously, at first he's confused. You can see that he's like looks at the ears and the tails, and he's like, "What the hell is going on?" So here's the thing. I was thinking, why is he not believing her? You can literally see her, and she also tells it. You can see my like ears and my tail. I have a wolf ear and a wolf tail. Like, can't you believe me? I was also thinking, yeah, why does she not believe me? Like, because obviously, like having like ears and tails is very, I'm sure it's something very rare. Like, you cannot really see something like that. Like, it's something that would never happen. So I was like, just because of that, couldn't he believe her? But then I realized why he was not believing her. He thought she was possessed or something, because this is back in the day, and that is why he probably thought that he was possessed by some like wolf, I don't know, like spirit or something, and that's why she had like ears and tails. That's why he was not believing her, and that's why he was always saying like, prove me that you're hollow. I think that's why, like that's what I realized. I might be wrong in my assumption, but that's the only thing that I can think of why he was not believing her, because he thought she was possessed or something. Either way, so yeah, and Hollow like introduces herself, and Hollow's like, "Oh, you ungrateful wretch, why are you pointing your blade at me?" And then she's like, "Oh, you must not be from that village, that's why." And she like introduces herself and everything, and she's like, "I'm Hollow." Lawrence is like, "I know one Hollow, like, and funny that you're like using that name." And she's like, "Oh, what Hollow do you know about? There's only one Hollow, that is me. There's no other creature with the name Hollow other than myself." And Lawrence is like, "Oh, it's the name of the god of harvest in this area." And she's like, "Though I've been called a god and bound to this land for a long time, I'm nothing so grand." There you go. She literally says, "I'm not a god." So that's why this is what I was talking about before. I was like, if she's not a god, then what is she? Why does she have ears and like tails? And she talks about being born in the north. So all these questions, I'm sure they'll get an answer later, way later. But and she's like, "I'm only Hollow and nothing more." My guess would be she, like, obviously she says that she's not a like a god, but my guess would be she's like some kind of a, I don't know, like a like some kind of like a fairy kind, not fairy in that sense, but like that kind of thing, like like in Japan, like yokai, and something like that. Maybe she is like a fox yokai or something like that. That would make sense, but yeah, she herself denies the fact that she's a god. She's not a god. Okay, either way, so he asks her, like, "Where are you from?" And she says like, "Oh, I was born in Yoitsu." And she asks him like, "Oh, have you went there?" And he's like, "No." And then she seems a little bit sad, you can see here. And then she goes back because she's feeling chilly, but Lawrence is not having it. Lawrence is like, "No, like, like I cannot allow you to stay here." And first he says like, "Prove to me. If not, prove it." And she's like, "You want me to show your form as a wolf?" And he's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "No, like I don't want that." And but Lawrence is just like sticking to his like thing. He's like, "No, you have to show it, otherwise I'll take you to the church." She gets even more mad. She's like, "I hate the church," like, yeah. And then he's like, "Okay, then I'll take you to the village chief." And she's like, "I don't want that either." So in the end, like, Lawrence is like, "Okay, here's the thing. If you can prove to me that you're a Hollow, the wolf, you can stay with me, because if you really are Hollow the wolf, then having you with me will probably increase my fortune. But unless and until you do that, I will assume that you're just someone possessed. You're just like some kind of a witch or something, and I'll take you to the authorities." At which she's like, "All right, fine, if you say so." And she says like, "To become a wolf, I would need blood from the living, or a small amount of." I love when he gets afraid when she says blood for the living. And then she gets the wheat and chews on it, and you can see she transforms. Now here I thought maybe the reason why she didn't like to transform is probably because it like pains her or something. I'm not really sure. She was kind of suffering, it seemed like, but I'm not 100% sure if that's the only reason, because it also seems like she probably doesn't want to show human beings her form, because human beings become afraid of her after that. She might have done this before to other people as well, and other people probably got more afraid of her and pushed her aside after that, and she doesn't like that. That is why she prefers not to show her wolf form to other people, because they might get scared and start avoiding her, something like that. I feel like there's also another part of the reason. Either way, they cut it off over here. They did show her a little bit here. Where is that part? I think they show her tail for a moment. Let me see that scene again. Yeah, her tail, we get to see like we don't really see her form properly here, but that's all. Either way, next we get to see Lawrence goes back to the village chief, and he's like, oh, let me stay here for a while. And he sees that Yahweh is here, and he's like, what the hell, aren't you supposed to be inside the barn? And he's like, oh, like people don't believe that no more, like it's just like an excuse to have a little bit of fun. So yeah, and you can see he kind of talks to him, and he's like reminiscing with him, they're old friends. And Lawrence is like, you're doing a good job negotiating the prices, and he's like, it's all because of you helped me out. And he remembers the past and talks about how the previous lord only thought about taking more taxes from them. That is why no merchant was willing to buy expensive tax inflated wheat. However, Lawrence did it. Lawrence bought it for him. He remembers that day. And Lawrence is like, oh, because I was a new trader at the back then, I had to get wheat like that in that process. But now a lot of things have changed. Even big, big places, big cities, and people are coming to get wheat from them. And he's negotiating, all of that. So yeah, it's a good, thing. And he says here, blatantly, that yeah, all these hollow and all these old gods, those time are gone, and now it's the church. And he says we cannot go against the church in this era. And people don't really think much about hollow nowadays and the old gods. And he says, yeah, we don't need hollow anymore. And and Lawrence listens to all of that. And now that hollow has proved that she is actually hollow, Lawrence feels bad now, because he can see how the villagers literally do not literally do not care anymore, or at least their attitude has become very casual about this. So yeah, he feels sad thinking about it, and thinking that hollow is stuck in a place like this. I think so, at least. Either way, he goes and tries to sleep, but hollow's just there, and hollow's like, are you afraid of me? And before that, she kind of says that, the reason why I was able to escape from there is because of you, so thank you. The final sheaf of wheat, I transferred from there to your wheat. And the reason why that was able to happen is because that's the only way I can transfer. He says, if there's a larger amount of, there you go, she literally says it, if there's a larger amount of wheat than the last sheaf of wheat nearby. So yeah, so she can go from small to big. I'm guessing the reverse won't be able to happen, from big to small. She cannot go from the wheat bunch in Lawrence's cart to that single sheaf of wheat. She cannot probably do that. So she has to do, okay, I see. Either way, so that's why she's like, thanks for that. I owe you a great deal of debt. And then she says, are you afraid of me? And Lawrence is like, you know what, that was hypocritical of me. I myself said I told you to show you your form, but then I got afraid of it. I'm sorry. And she's like, don't worry, people show fear when they see my true form. There are a few who have reacted otherwise, but most of them react in a scary, they get scared. There was one person in this village, and I made a promise with that person to ensure good harvests of this village. And it's been a long time, and that's why I've been here for so long. And then she says, there were times when I have created bad harvests, because obviously if I keep making good harvests, it'll affect the soil. I cannot do that. And, so people blame everything on me. the good things, even the bad things. Like when there's bad harvest, people call it my fickleness. And she says, like, I'm sure that they will have bountiful harvests even without me. No one needs me here any longer. At which Lawrence is like, where do you want to go? And she's like, I want to go to the north. And yeah, and then they began their journey. Lawrence is like, okay, let's go. And yeah, later on we see Hollow, like the next day, like when they're on their journey, Hollow has worn Lawrence's dress. And she's like, oh, like, thanks for all of this. She asks him his name. He says Craft Lawrence, and she's like, I will continue to speak of your greatness from now to the end of time. And that's literally what she's doing, probably in the very first scene when we see her talking to that little girl, talking about Lawrence. And yeah, and then Lawrence is like, okay, you know what? It's all well and good that you're coming with me, but you have to earn your keep, And she's like, okay, like, I'll help you out. Like, I'm not shameless enough to eat your food without doing anything in return. And wise wolf, Hollow, the wise, honorable wolf, I will help you out on your journey. And then she's like, oh, it's so cramped here, let me squeeze closer to you. And he gets embarrassed. And that's where it ended. Great. Amazing. Absolutely beautiful. Like, visual wise, everything. It looks really good. And it feels really good. So yeah, I have high expectations for this. This is going to be good. So that is it. Thank you for watching, guys. This was my reaction to the first episode of Spice and Wolf. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to press the like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, or you haven't subscribed. Comment down below anything you want to say, anything you want to let me know. I'll check them out. And that is it. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys next week with another episode of Spice and Wolf. Until then, goodbye and have a nice day.